Hello everyone and welcome to Nara's Tarot. Thank you very much for being here. Today's reading, we are going to take a look at what you are making space for in your life right now, okay? And this reading is inspired by the upcoming new moon in Cancer, but it is a timeless reading. I wanted to just find out, how this new moon and the shadows and, all of this excavation that we've been doing with the lunation cycles, how is it helping us to create space for the things that we want in life, what that is. You can use this reading as a confirmation, but also maybe just to check out like what new things are coming or entering into your life, okay? So we have 3 piles for you today. This is pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. Feel free to pause the video here to connect with the piles, and I will see you at your reading. Hello pile 1, and welcome to your reading about what you're currently making space for in your life. So we're going to start off with tarot, and the first two cards here will show us what has been occupying space in your life right now. And I kept the intention pretty open. I wasn't really looking at if it was negatively or positively occupying space in your life. I just wanted to see what spirit brings in, because you never know, right? Sometimes even a good thing maybe needs to be changed. Okay, so then the next 2 cards will take a look at, well, what are you making space for? So what is that new thing that is coming in into your life? Okay, so let's check out your first 2 cards. We have here the Hanged Man and the High Priestess. I feel like the very first thing I've noticed with the Hangman and the High Priestess is you guys feeling like you don't really understand what this current stage of your life is, but it doesn't really bother you because it's almost like you understand that you don't understand, like that there isn't something to be understood right now. You know that there's some kind of mystery unfolding, and you're okay with the discomfort of not knowing. And this is what's been occupying your space right now. I think you're feeling the change that is impending, because with the Hanged Man, he is in an upside down and hanged position, but he knows that this is not going to be a permanent state, even if it feels pretty permanent, right? Even if it feels like he's going to be here for a while and he doesn't know when he will change, when he will stop being hanged. But he has surrendered to that very moment of discomfort. And the High Priestess here is this knowledge that everything is going to be okay, right? Because even if we're uncomfortable with the Hanged Man, the inner wisdom and inner intuition part of us, the High Priestess, she almost comes in as a very reassuring voice in this current spread here to say that this is all part of some divine plan and it will all make sense in a moment. You are doing good, really, really good right now, because you're exactly where you're meant to be. Okay, so there is a feeling of a mystery that's just taking place right now, and it's still unfolding. And we're okay not knowing, but it's also taking up space in our lives that, yeah, this situation is the major theme, is the most defining moment right now, is the thing that is occupying most of your waking hours in your life. It's something that's just running in the background, and you're constantly feeling that, yes, I am experiencing some kind of shift and change. It's not visible, but I know it's happening, and I don't know why it's happening. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know it's happening. The thing is that your life may seem very mundane and routine right now. Like nothing really has changed on the surface with the Hangman over here. But I think many of you can feel that there's something deeper going on beneath the surface, okay? So I'm very excited now to look at what the next 2 cards are. So let's have a look together, okay? And we have here the Fool in reverse. That's interesting, as well as the Knight of Pentacles. So this is what you're making space for. I want to just point out first that these 2 energies almost like are in juxtaposition of each other, right? The Fool is in reverse, is somebody not taking that step forward, not taking a leap of faith, not doing what the Fool does, which is to leap into that unknown, versus the Knight of Pentacles, which is very stable, very secure, very almost like humble kind of energy as well. Oh, okay. I kind of get it now. Okay, so what you're making space for in your life is, and I don't know why that's the case, but it is the possibility to take risks. There's something about the Fool in reverse where it almost feels like you can do this act of jumping into the unknown without having to be entirely like the Fool, where they, as the Fool, carry a lot of risk, right? Because they're completely starting afresh, starting brand new, and they've left behind whatever life they knew before they were the Fool to go and start like an entire new journey, right? And there's so much risk that the Fool upright is taking to be on this journey, but they've gladly accepted it, right? And so that's embedded in the message of the Fool. There's something about this card in reverse, together with the Knight of Pentacles, which says that you can do this thing, and you're making space to be able to take some kind of a leap of faith or some kind of new beginning in a way that is more like the Knight of Pentacles, that is stable, that's, you know, one step at a time, that's very almost like calculated as well. You're not taking this kind of like you're not doing it in a way where you're just trusting and like leaping into a great big unknown. And to put it into practical terms, maybe like quitting your job or moving cities or just buying a one-way ticket and going somewhere. Like all of those things are very Fool-like things, you know. But for you with the Knight of Pentacles and the Fool in reverse, it's almost like you'll leave your job, but you'll do it when you have something else lined up next. Or you'll move to a new city that you've always wanted to be, but not without actually visiting that city first, not without actually maybe finding a house in that city first, not without actually putting all of your finances and your resources and your life in order before you move. Like you're making a very careful decision to go ahead. And that's the thing that you're making space for in your life right now. I wonder if because you're building up this patience with the Knight of Pentacles, that therefore things feel a bit like a hangman situation now, because it's kind of like somebody working in a 9-to-5 job and saving up to be able to do what they want to do next, you know. And so you're enduring the current situation, you're enduring what's not very ideal in your life right now, whatever routine, whatever circumstance, so that you can actually do the thing you want to do. Okay, I actually want to get a clarification for the Fool in reverse, just to see like what's up with him, you know, because his message for you today is a little bit unconventional, right, for the Fool. So let's see, what is clarification for the Fool. Okay, we have the Ace of Cups, the Prince of Swords, which is the Knight of Swords, and the Seven of Swords. Oh, you see that? Because I was a bit concerned that the Fool in reverse might also mean that we're not taking that full step, right? We're not doing the thing to actually just trust and surrender to our path. But with the Ace of Cups here, this is the Ace of Cups, right? Yeah, okay. The interesting thing is there's a pentacle here in Ace of Cups, which is cute. So there's something really tangible about the way that you are going about this new beginning. You're not just taking up blind guesses, or you're not just relying on blind faith. You actually want to move forward with a solid plan, okay? But anyway, you know what I was concerned about was that that you might not be taking that full risk or trusting and surrendering fully. But the Ace of Cups and the Prince of Swords really clarifies that no, the reason why you're being so careful is because you want to have a sure way forward. And it's not that you're not taking those risks, because the Ace of Cups is a new beginning. You clearly are prepared and ready for that new beginning. And with the Prince of Swords, the Knight of Swords, you are also clearly willing to do what it takes to be able to move quickly towards that goal, right? You're not just like the Knight of Pentacles, just going at your pace and going very slowly and just like taking your own time. But no, you have this energy of drive and ambition and this Knight of Swords energy that's a go-getter, that's fast, that's that's almost like very to the point. You know, they're precise about how they get to a destination, right? So you have all of these qualities in you, and it really tells me that this is a very, very careful, deliberate decision, and you are coming in with a solid plan to create that new chapter in your life. Now, the thing that you are actively trying to avoid is the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords here is any kind of self-sabotage, any kind of shaky foundation or plan or just unrealistic plan, fantasy. You know, you're trying to avoid this. You're trying to avoid falling into the trap of like believing in a fantasy. You don't want to just look, you know, like at a TikTok video and say that, ooh, you know, like that's the city I want to go to just by watching a bunch of TikTok videos. No, you're not going to make your decision that way. You're actually going to visit the place, find out more about it, experience it, know exactly what the pros and cons are. For instance, if let's say you want to move to a new city, right? That's what you're trying to do, and not just relying on faith alone or just fantasies alone. So the Seven of Swords here is what you guys are not wanting to do. Okay, let's just see what's underneath the deck. Knight of Swords. Oh, sorry. So the Prince of Swords would be the Page of Swords, I think. Anyway, you have the Knight of Swords here, so like that also confirms that that go-getter energy is in your reading. But damn, okay, so the Knight of Swords, Prince of Swords. I really can't recall if this is the King of Swords or the Page of Swords, but either way, you have that sword energy, that go-getter, that cut straight to the point kind of vibe to you. And that's very present, even if you're taking like a careful decision, it's still very strategic, okay? And I do want to add that as I'm looking at this card here, this Prince of Swords, this person is like holding strings, and I don't know what the strings are attached to, but it kind of looks like he's ready to cut the cords, you know? So I also feel like for many of you, you're like ready to cut some cords in your life. You're ready to let go. You're ready to like move on from something, but you want to do it almost like in a very, very precise manner. Like one strike of your blade and all of the cords will fall. That's the kind of thing that you want to do, okay? Let us get you your oracle cards now to see what else you are, what more information Spirit can share with us about what you're making space for in your life, okay? And we just knocked over the flowers. But okay, the two cards you have are Creation and Perception. Wow, love that. And underneath the deck, we have, let's see, Recovery. Oh, okay. So the thing that you guys are making space for also is recovering something that you lost in the past. And I think that's why you're kind of like careful with your approach right now, because this isn't your first rodeo with the Fool in reverse as well. Like this is not your first time taking such an adventure and going out of your way to like take this risk. You know what it's going to be, and you know therefore the kinds of pitfalls and traps that you want to avoid, because this isn't your first rodeo, right? Like if you were the Fool, if you were and have taken a fool's journey from before, you know that you would encounter, let's say, a devil or a tower moment, or maybe a Five of Cups moment, right? Like you know those things are going to happen. And what you're trying to do now is to make plans to actually help you navigate some of those challenges that you can already see are coming. Like you're not going in with blind optimism and blind faith. You're actually going in with a really, really calculated and strategic plan. The thing is, you're trying to recover something that you lost. And I think you're not just going to recover something, you're going to actually create something new. So some guidance from Spirit coming through here is to not hyperfixate on trying to recreate something, but also be open to like new things that could open up in your life as well. To give you an example, I'm just seeing that, for instance, like maybe you wanted to change jobs into a new career or a new industry before, and something about that change just didn't work out for you. And right now you're trying to like do the same thing over again to enter into that industry that you really once wanted to go into. But this time, Spirit is saying that instead of applying to the exact same jobs as before, they also want you to open yourself up to the possibility that there might be different opportunities or different jobs in the industry that you want to break into, that would be even better for you, that would be still a great fit for you, but they're just not entirely what you had planned for, right? So that's that full energy that's also wanting to come in, like allowing unplanned things to also unfold in your life as well, okay? And perception over here, I think this is also a reminder to you guys to like see things from different angles, because I'm sensing a little bit of self-judgment over here with some of you that, you know, because this isn't your first time trying, that you're coming in with something that maybe has colored your lens a little bit. And that's not bad, or it's not necessarily something wrong, right? Or something that we should, remove. Like the coloring actually is also wisdom, is also experience, is also very valuable. But perception here is also reminding us not to entirely rely on our past experiences to make future decisions, because that prevents us from doing or thinking or coming up with anything new, right? Innovation doesn't entirely come from experience. It also comes from like spontaneity as well. Okay, so there's that bit of guidance coming through. Let's see what else Spirit wants you to know about what you're making space for. Ooh. Okay, we have two cards here. We have number 1, expect powerful change, new moon eclipse. Beautiful. And then we have you are good enough, full moon and Virgo. Yep. Yeah, that's that perception message that is being kind of like reinforced. Like you are good enough. Just because something didn't work out in the past doesn't mean that you kind of like have to wear it as a chip on your shoulder, or it doesn't mean that you have to approach something with a lot of fear or a lot of caution. You didn't fail before, I think you're defining yourself by your failure, but you didn't fail, you just had an experience, right? Like what is that failure if that failure contributes to your future success or contributes to your present success as well? It's easier said than done to let go of these personal experiences that we may take very, we take it very personally, that we didn't manage to do something, or that we didn't manage to manifest something, or something didn't work out, right? It always feels a lot more personal than it is. And so I know it's not easy to just look at a past setback and be like, yeah, it's whatever. But on the grand scheme of things, it kind of is. It kind of is just that experience. You kind of have to let the volume of that experience be a little bit lower. Like now you're like turning up the volume of like the past failure, and it's like that's blasting in your background, that's constantly playing in your life. You're constantly being reminded that that's what you want to avoid, when you can actually turn that volume down and look at other things that are going really well in your life right now. Like turn up the volume on some of the other experiences that you've had. Like, hey, where was something that you've really succeeded at? What are some maybe relationships that you're really proud of? Or what are some things you've done that you're really excited about? Like look at some of those experiences too and balance things out, okay? But anyway, you have powerful change. New moon eclipse. I think that's a very, very powerful card for you. I do think that this really confirms a lot that, this hangman's season, this time of waiting and patience, it will pay off, okay? And underneath that, we have the answers you need are coming, full moon in Gemini. Beautiful. So some questions that you may have about your path. Ooh, and that is exactly what we were picking up at the start of the reading with the High Priestess. That mystery, that that kind of like uncertainty that you guys are like maybe dealing with right now. You'll have the answers as to why that is happening, or that has happened in your life. You'll really understand the purpose of that experience and be able to look at it in a very, very different light. Okay, let's take a look at what else Spirit wants you to know. We have desert, vision quest, and volcano volatility. Okay. And underneath the deck, we've got rainbow blessings. Nice. Okay. I am just noticing how the cards keep reinforcing each other, because like you think of like a desert, and the desert feels like a hanged man to me. Because the desert is just a long stretch of the same landscape, right? You just see sand and sand dunes upon sand dunes upon sand dunes, and it's just the same landscape. And when we walk through the desert, there's the idea of perseverance, of resilience, of strength in journeying and doing this vision quest, through a desert. And you might have been experiencing this desert in your life where there hasn't been you have not felt showered by blessings, or showered by new beginnings, or showered by anything new at all, right? And so for a long period of time, you're just staring at the same thing. But then we have the volcano here. And the volcano is in stark contrast to the desert, where nothing is happening in the desert, to something major is happening with the volcano. So you are going to find yourself having this like crazy shift from nothing happening to a lot of things happening. So I would not be surprised if you experience like a sudden breakthrough, a sudden major change that's unfolding, and it's like nothing happens and then everything happens all at once, that kind of vibe. Okay, the other thing with the volcano also is that like many volcanoes lay dormant for like thousands of years, even like hundreds to thousands of years, and nothing happens with the volcano until it erupts, right? Until something happens. That again is that same vibe that's being reinforced here. You've been very patiently waiting for that time, for almost like things to reach that boiling point, for things to reach that point of that turning point, that point of transition, that point of manifestation. You've been working up to that energetic frequency, and it hasn't been easy to get to that level where the energy is I guess at the right frequency to be able to create change. But you've climbed the entire mountain of challenge, of lessons, of everything, right, to get there. And you're really at the doorstep of it. You're really, really at the doorstep of that powerful change, okay? And so rainbow blessings feel so, so, so good, because I mean, we have rainbows because we have rain, right? And rain in the desert is a blessing, right? Rain in the midst of all of this hangman situation, and this rainbow coming through is a blessing. Is telling us that the thing you have been praying for is going to come into your life. The thing that you've been desperately waiting for, that you've been hoping for, is indeed entering, okay? This is really beautiful for you. Just want to grab you some final affirmation cards to close off this reading. Let's have a look at what Spirit wants you to know. Okay, and we have here, the universe is always helping me, sometimes in unexpected ways. And I am strong enough to face every issue in my life with courage and trust. Beautiful. And underneath the deck, we have, everything happens according to divine timing for the best results. Everything is indeed happening according. Well, I literally just finished saying that statement about divine timing, and like my alarm went off. So if it's not about timing for you, I don't know what is. Like, I know you guys have been so patiently waiting for something to change or something to happen in your life, and you are being so trusting of divine timing, in the fact that divine timing doesn't explain itself, and you don't know why divine timing is the way it is. Maybe not until hindsight, but when you're in the moment of that patience and that waiting, it can be excruciatingly painful. I get it. But that was like I think a major sign that was coming through in this reading that divine timing is literally at your doorstep. The alarm bells are about to go off. It's almost like it's time to wake up. It's time to go. Spirit is calling for you to like pack your bags and like get ready for the adventure of a lifetime, because you're literally at the doorstep of some major change. Okay, so pile number one, this is what I see for your reading. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope this reading brought you the clarity that you're seeking, and I look forward to reading for you guys in future as well. Okay, bye now. Hello, Paltsu, and welcome to your reading about what you are making space for in your life right now. So, the very first two tarot cards over here will tell us what is currently occupying space in your life, and then the next two will show us, well, what are you then making space for, or what is that thing that is coming in into your life. Okay, so let's check out your first two cards. We have here the Four of Wands, as well as the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, this is very interesting. The first thing that I'm hearing with the Four of Wands immediately is responsibilities. And the thing about the kind of responsibilities that you're carrying with the Four of Wands is that it's not that you're unwilling to carry out these responsibilities, because some responsibilities can feel very heavy, right? But with the Four of Wands, this is like you having some things on your plate, but you're more than happy to be doing them. Like you're happy to have these responsibilities. Like you don't mind them, and in fact, you've embraced them, and maybe they also bring you joy in your life. So there's something about the current moment and the current circumstance or situation that you're in that's actually not too bad. But then the Wheel of Fortune here is this desire for change, right? The Four of Wands, you could say that they are in a way in a very stable and happy and content and also successful, thriving environment. And the Four of Wands has created that for themselves. So there is a feeling of gratitude and appreciation for the kind of life that they have. And that doesn't mean that, with contentment, that we therefore can't anticipate or desire change. Still, with the Wheel of Fortune here, what you guys are kind of like hoping for, it's kind of like you're being a bit coy about it. I feel like you're not it's not like very urgent or something that you absolutely need to manifest like right now, but it's there that you would like to have some change. And somehow this is occupying your life in the sense that you're just maybe itching a little bit, itching for an adventure, itching for some kind of newness in your life, and wondering what that might be. Okay, so let's take a look at what you're making space for. We have the Fool. Okay, talk about an adventure, talk about wanting to make some changes in your life, and we have the Fool. Love that. And then sorry, we have the High Priestess. Okay. I don't know why again, but with the High Priestess, I'm hearing someone wanting to level up in their life, because I think you're ready to like deepen your spiritual knowledge and like spiritual gifts. I think some of you are feeling a lot more intuitive lately, and you're feeling like your intuitive senses, that spiritual wisdom, downloads that you're getting, it's like getting a bit louder these days, and you're ready to kind of like explore that mystical, esoteric, spiritual part of life more. You're ready to explore that more. It feels like a very new thing for many of you with the Fool to the High Priestess, because this kind of feels like it's not something that you've fully given time and space for to figure out or to understand why your intuition is the way it is, why you experience life the way it is, the way you have. Why have you gone through some experiences? You haven't really dabbled fully into that, but you're kind of like in a place in life right now where you almost like feel ready to do so. And I think you're being a bit coy about this entire desire to explore your spirituality, because it is very new. It kind of feels really fresh. It feels very, very like, I want to say the word is raw, but not really. But like, the idea is like it's so tender, it's so fresh. It's like taking care of like a little baby, you know, like you have to be so delicate with this idea that has taken a seat in your life. And you're just being very cautious and careful about how you approach your own spirituality, because I think you want to do it in a way, or I'm feeling for pile number two, is that you guys want to do it in a way that is in integrity with your values and your beliefs. And there's so much out there in the spiritual esoteric world. There's so many ways you could go about exploring that, you know, like, and so there's so many paths to take, right? And I think you're really wanting to choose a path that is in alignment with who you are. Okay, so crazy stuff, amazing stuff. Let's have a look at what else Spirit wants you to know about the thing you're making space for in your life. Okay, we have creation. And interestingly, pile number one also got this card. So you might have tuned into pile one. We then have destiny, impartiality, and service. Okay. Underneath the deck, we've got bittersweet. So for some of you, I'm hearing that what's triggering this desire to go on like a spiritual sort of exploration or a spiritual quest is the fact that you have had many bittersweet experiences in your life, or maybe just a bittersweet experience in your life where the loss or something, or the need or having to have said goodbye to something also make you aware of some deeper truths and meaning to life. You know, that there was a meaning and a point to the suffering. There was a point to this pain. That there was a point to life in and of itself. The idea that life and endings are in the same cycle is a very spiritual experience alone, right? To experience new beginnings and endings and experience the cycle of it all, and walking away with that bittersweet feeling, it certainly makes us question or ponder about, hey, what's the deeper meaning to life? Like, if I have time right now to live my life, well, what really is going on, and what do I want to make out of it, right? So this could be something that's triggering up this desire for a deeper spiritual exploration and quest. To look at all of these oracle cards holistically, the first thing I want to say is that some of you may feel a calling when it comes to your spirituality, in that you maybe feel that there's something more that you can offer to yourself or your community by deepening your spirituality, you know. And it's not just about like something religious or something like self-helpy or preachy. It's not just about that. It's that somehow, even with deepening your spirituality, it could help you in your work. It could help you in your business. It could help you be a better friend, maybe. It could help you be a better steward of your plants, even if it's just house plants, you know. Like, it could just help you enjoy life more. There's something about your path that you know is also helping you to be of service to the people around you. And for some of you, there is a calling for you to take that one step further, to actually make this almost like a vocation or like a path that you want to be doing on, not just like as a hobby, but with more commitment of time and energy, you know. I don't know if you guys are going to be like spiritual workers or fully entering like, you know, a healing or energetic work. I don't know. For some of you, yes, that is the case. But for others of you, that service piece is a bit more broad. Okay, so keep an open mind and heart to what that is right now, because it's too soon to define how that path is going to look like. Okay, so impartiality, therefore, is Spirit coming through to say that we want to come to this experience and come into exploring this notion of spirituality with an impartial lens, right? not to place judgments on things too quickly, not to look at maybe somebody's expression of spirituality and say and decide or conclude whether that's for you or not for you. You know, like spirituality and the exploration of it is also demanding for us to look at things in fairness and with impartiality. And it requires us to let go of judgment about who we think we are and and what we think our spirituality is. Right? And also letting go of what we think spirituality is in the world right now, because there's just so much going on, right? I mean, maybe it has always been the case, but certainly social media has kind of like amplified, all of the spiritual wisdom and insights that are coming out right now. I mean, there's a lot of noise, is what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of noise, and whilst you're trying to be discerning of your path, there is a fine line between discernment and judgment, right? And Spirit is just wanting you to be mindful of that with the impartiality. But all in all, you are definitely creating like a path towards your destiny. And that's the thing that feels really grand, really like big about this journey that you're going on, is the fact that it's opening you up to a deeper truth in your life, a deeper meaning in your life. And you might really start to understand through your own spiritual exploration why you were put on this earth, what were you meant to do, really answering some of life's bigger questions, and either finding yourself wanting to be of service in a spiritual sense, maybe being an energetic worker, healer, tarot reader, astrologer, something like that, or incorporating it to level up your current work or current life. All right, let's grab you more more oracle cards. See what else comes through for pile 2. Whoa, you have a lot of cards, but we are gonna take them. Okay. We have here, you're very close to achieving your goal, gibbous moon. Interesting. Show the world the real you, full moon in Aquarius. And how do I lay out these cards? Okay, let's try them like that. Okay, a time to give rather than take, new moon in Virgo, as well as a win-win outcome is forecast, full moon in Libra. And underneath the deck, you do have new moon in Leo, confidence is your key to success. Okay. I'm very drawn to the fact that you're very close to achieving your goal, because I think what this card is basically saying is that you're about to embark on this journey. Like, you're very close to like starting that fool's journey. And I think I'm not really sure what shifts and what tips the scales to the point where you are ready to go on that fool's journey, but I think it's something that you'll know when it's time, right? Like, I don't know if anybody like plans to be a fool. The fool is just unplanned through and through. He's unstructured, unplanned. He didn't it wasn't like a calculated thing that he decided to become the fool, right? Like, it kind of just landed in his lap and he's just doing it. Actually, that's not entirely true, because it didn't just land in his lap, but more so that he just decided to take the leap of faith, and he didn't know that he was going to be walking off a cliff or like jumping off this roof, like in this deck over here. But he is, right, because he's walking his path. Suddenly he may just be walking off a cliff, and there is that idea of trust and surrendering to your path and to the path itself. So you're very close to kind of like experiencing that fool's journey, okay? And the thing here that Spirit wants to reassure you is that a win-win outcome is forecast, in that this is going to benefit you, and it's also like doing this spiritual thing, exploring this spiritual thing, it's actually going to benefit you and the rest of your life. It's a win-win, not just for your spiritual self, but also for the other parts of your life. So take comfort in knowing that everything is going to be okay. And right now, it's a big moment of authenticity and also vulnerability. Therefore, right, show the world the real you is this idea that I want to be present and authentic to this current experience that I'm going through. I want to be authentic to the fact that I'm exploring this part of my life. I'm going through these things. I'm interested in learning about these things, right? Sometimes I think sometimes as spiritual people, we may feel a little bit shy about uh, our interests because they can be a bit alternative or a bit left field, and maybe not that many people in our 3D reality actually resonate with the things that we're interested in. Sometimes you can feel that way. Maybe that's why you're feeling a bit coy and shy about that experience, because you know that it could be a bit like woo woo, like not sure if people around you would necessarily resonate with that. But there's there is a liberating feeling to being authentic, right? And the idea here is not that you have to shout it at the top of the mountain that like, hey, I'm going on a spiritual journey, like we don't have to do that, but at the same time, you don't have to hide or lie or try to paint a different picture about your current life if that makes you feel uncomfortable, right? I mean, you don't have to share things with people that you don't want to share them with, but then we also don't have to put or shrink ourselves just to make somebody else comfortable. You know what I mean? So it's also a very fine balance that we're managing over here. But this is the journey that you're on. It's a time to give rather than take. I mean, I think it's a time to really like pour out this curiosity and this love and this desire for adventure. I think that's the energy that you're giving into this experience right now. And you will receive a lot from it the more that you pour in that kind of love and enthusiasm into your own exploration, okay? And let's see what else Spirit wants you to know, about your what you're making space for. We have summer solstice radiance as well as music harmony, okay? And underneath the deck we have island solitude. Yeah, spiritual journeys are journeys we make with ourselves, journeys we do with our own soul, with our own spirit, with our own higher self, with the universe, right? It's something that we can experience with other people, right? You can go on a retreat or you can go on like a meditation and there are people around you, but ultimately it is something that you experience with yourself. So this is a journey of really going deep into that inner truth and inner awareness that you have and listening to what it has to say to you, because I think there's so much that your intuition is kind of like pouring out for you guys. With music harmony and summer solstice radiance, again, I feel like, okay, starting out with the radiance card, this almost feels like a callback to that Show the World the Real You card here, right? This is about you standing out in your light and owning your light, owning that part of yourself that has been dormant in you and is ready to shine right now. So you're ready to radiate with light, and that's the whole thing here, is to not shy away from your light or to not try to dim your light in order to fit somebody else's in order to make somebody else comfortable, okay? Music harmony, I feel, is you guys almost like wanting to find your tribe, wanting to find like the other people who are in the same frequency as you, or at least wanting to find a spiritual practice that is in harmony with you, that is energetically aligned and in your frequency as well, because that's what music is about frequency. So that kind of harmony is definitely coming in. That's what you're making space for, finding a certain practice or a certain community, or maybe even like a teacher, a practice that feels harmonious with your current life and feels like it could also elevate you in the way that is appropriate for you right now. Okay, so let us close off this reading with some affirmation cards. to see what else Spirit wants you to know, okay? All right. And we have here, life is good to me. Life is good to me. Very, very straightforward affirmation there. I love that. And then we have here underneath the deck, the love within me is more powerful than doubt or fear. Beautiful. So pile number 2, this is what I see for your reading. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope this reading brought you the clarity that you were seeking, and I look forward to reading for you guys in future as well, okay? Bye now. Hello, Pile 3, and welcome to your reading about what you're making space for in your life right now. So the first 2 tarot cards will tell us what is currently occupying space in your life, and then the next 2 cards will show us, well then, what are you making space for, okay? So let's have a look here together. For your first 2 cards, we have the 9 of Wands as well as the 2 of Wands, okay? Both wand energies here. So firstly, the 9 of Wands is somebody who is going through a pretty tough time because they're dealing with a lot of heat. I mean, the wand is heat energy. It's not heat energy. It's fire energy. And in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith image, we have somebody who looks like they're wounded. They have a bit of bandage around their head. You know, they look a bit like stressed out, right? And they're surrounded by 9 wands in the sense that they kind of feel barricaded in by these 9 wands. And this could represent responsibilities. It could represent a lot of intensity that you're dealing with in your life right now. Maybe there's a lot of intense change or intense workload or intense emotional burdens that you're dealing with. Something is just bringing in a lot of heat. Okay, the heat is definitely on with the 9 of Wands. And this is the quality of the thing that's occupying space in your life right now. And then we have it next to the 2 of Wands. And the 2 of Wands is all about forward movement, or not forward movement, but forward looking energy. Us wanting to move into, plan and move into some kind of new space, but we're looking ahead. We're making those plans, okay? So what's occupying your space right now is this dual energy where you're so deep in this intensity, but at the same time you're looking ahead to almost like want to shift out of that intense situation. And I'm not exactly sure what this is for some of you, but to give an example, and an easy example, this might be you guys having a lot of work related responsibilities right now, you know, and maybe you're working overtime, you're working long hours. And amidst all of that, you're planning ahead to see how you could maybe change careers. Or maybe you're planning to make your side hustle into your main hustle. Or maybe you're looking at what you can do to improve this situation because you don't want to stay at the 9 of Wands. Like, this is really intense, right? So you're kind of like managing these 2 things at the same time, and there's a lot. It's a lot. So it's definitely occupying a lot of space in your life right now to be like working so hard and also wanting to plan ahead for a different or a better life for yourself. Okay, so let's take a look at what you are then making space for in your life, okay? We have the Hanged Man in reverse, as well as the Tower. Okay. Okay. 2 major arcana cards for what you're making space for. Wow. If you read tarot, I don't want you to be, or if you watch tarot readings and like you know what a tower is, do not be alarmed, because we are not about catastrophizing on this channel here. So we don't do that. Okay. The thing that could not be clearer with the Hangman in reverse and the Tower is the fact that major change is coming into your life. You are making space for some kind of insane major transformation. Things are about to get shaken up for sure, right? Because the Tower is being built upon shaky foundations in the first place, right? This tower was never built to last, and therefore one strike of the lightning or one blow to the tower would cause it to fall, right? This isn't something that was built to last. So there is something in your life that you know you've built and you know you are standing upon that wasn't meant to last anyway. And I think for some of you, this is pretty comforting. I'm even getting this feeling with the tower. It's like, I know that this situation in my life now is impermanent. I didn't make this decision to go into this thing for it to last. Like maybe you knew that you weren't going to stay in this job forever. You knew that you weren't going to stay in this house forever. Maybe like you were just renting it for a while. You already knew going in that it's not your long-term game, right? And so you're not gonna be surprised that the tower moment happens, but at the same time, the tower moment is kind of surprising in just how big it feels or how big of an impact it makes on your life, okay? I will get clarification for the tower just because it's the tower. But I do want to say the hanged man over here in reverse is also saying that like you've been patiently waiting for this change to arrive. And the thing Spirit wants to remind us in this reading is that control is not something that we have control over. Wow, amazing use of words. But what Spirit wants to say is that with the Two of Wands here, you guys are like planning for the future and you're like wanting to make some calculated moves, right? Like, and so that's what you're doing right now. But then when change comes, it's just gonna come. When life rolls in, it's just gonna roll in. So control is very much an illusion. We can plan and we can certainly make plans, it's always possible, right? But then we also always have to be cognizant of the fact that we can't plan for everything because the universe brings us curveballs. Our higher self maybe knows better than what we know right now, and so we may be planning based on what we know, but we can't entirely plan what we don't know. So you guys are also being reminded to let go of control in this season, in that this change is not something that you can plan. All right. Okay, let's try to get you a card for the tower to clarify it. We have the Ace of Pentacles, and underneath the deck, Justice. You see, that's why I wasn't feeling too worried about this tower, and I wanted to clarify just to make sure that I wasn't reading too little into it, because we have the Ace of Pentacles and Justice here. The thing about this tower moment is that it's making space for this opportunity to actually come into your life, because otherwise you may not have maybe the time or the resources or the energy. If you are in a Nine of Wands situation, you may not have the energy to actually welcome in this new change if this is what's occupying your entire life. And the thing that's scary for some of you maybe is just how big and fast the changes are, how much, like, how 180, of a 180 change this is. And for some of you, this could be also removing some kind of security blanket in your life, and it's very uncomfortable not to have something in your life as like a safety net. Maybe this is a job, maybe this is someone that you depend on, or maybe this is, like a community that you always rely on, and when it suddenly explodes, it's like, damn, I'm not sure I can go without that safety blanket, without that monthly income, without that group of friends to always go to, without, this partner that I'm always with. Like, suddenly the tower moment kind of like removes some kind of dependency we have on something, and it reveals to us that we are gonna have to do something on our own terms. And on many levels, I feel like a lot of you want to do things on your own terms. It's just that it's coming in at a point where you didn't know that it's coming in at that time, and you maybe not are, and you're maybe not fully ready for that tower moment to enter. But hey, again, we can't plan for everything, and Spirit is also reminding us that most of the times things will come in before we are ready. Right? And you got to jump before you're ready. You got to be ready before you're ready. That's the whole essence with the tower moment and the hangman in reverse over here. But essentially, to clarify the tower, we have the Ace of Pentacles. This is making way for a tangible offer to come in into your life of something that is actually what you've been calling in, what you've been manifesting. And justice here is that idea that this is all in good faith, you know, this is all happening for the highest good, for your highest good. It's this tower isn't just happening, you know, for the sake of change, for the sake of destruction, for the sake of, you know, big transformation. Like, it's not just happening for the sake of that. It's happening for good reason. Justice is reasonable, is very fair, and there is it has like a strong kind of like connection between cause and effect, right? That's what justice upholds. And so what justice is saying is that this tower moment didn't come out of nowhere, really. There's a reason for this happening. And the reason is it's making space for a life that is truly, truly yours to live. A life that you actually can own and that you want to claim, right? Out of this Nine of Wands, out of this very wounded or burnt out energy, and into something that is actually gonna be what you want to create, right? Ace of Pentacles is creation energy as well. Is you pouring in something very tangible into creating something new for yourself. So this tower moment is definitely making space for that. So you're making space for a tower moment to make space for more opportunities, okay? So guys, just hang in there. Hang in there. Okay, let's go use some oracle cards to see what else Spirit wants you to know about what you're making space for. We have forgiveness and enlightenment. Okay. And underneath the deck, we have impasse. Impasse? But impasse here is this idea that you may be wanting to go on a path and you are constantly being blocked. And this guy over here is like a spirit guide, and they're blocking you from this path because there's a different path to walk. Okay, so I think that's what the Hangman in reverse is saying, actually, is that you've been wanting to break open some kind of barrier or cross some kind of path, and you've been constantly blocked or facing a lot of obstacles. And this impasse card is saying that there's a reason why you were not able to go down on those paths. Is because your higher self or the universe or your spirit guides were actually trying to re-divert you to a different path that you're actually more suited for, or a path that is even better for you, okay? So that kind of clarifies something. And then this next part of the reading, I don't know why, but it's also calling for you to like forgive the things that forgive the choices you've made in the past, because you have had to make some difficult choices, right? I mean, to put yourself in a Nine of Wands situation, right, in this very intense to the point of burnout situation, like maybe you guys feel a little bit bad that you're in this life right now, you know, that things are always so on, you know, it's like life is always on, like you don't have like a switch off button. And maybe you feel bad because like you can't rest and you can't just stop for a moment. And you can't do that for a variety of reasons. Maybe you've got bills to pay, or you've got mouths to feed, or you've got things to do, and it's constantly on, and you're wondering why life has to be this way, or like what mistakes you made such that your life is so intense. And Spirit is calling for you to forgive the choices or even the quote-unquote mistakes that you made in the past, because all of those things in the grand scheme of things contribute to your enlightenment, contribute to your wisdom, right? And if we were already enlightened, we wouldn't be going through these experiences. You know, if we knew everything, we wouldn't have made the mistakes. We wouldn't have gone down the detours, the curvy, windy paths, right? We wouldn't have done that. But it's because we're human and because we're learning through this experience right now that we do go through moments of folly, moments of change, moments where we make mistakes. And this message is Spirit almost coming in with a lot of compassion, but almost like saying it as a matter of fact as well. Like that, hey, be so real with yourself right now, because you are human, and like you are allowed to make mistakes, and you are allowed to forgive yourself for any mistakes that you've made. Like, it's a big, I guess, illusion, right? To think that we need to punish ourselves for the past, or that we need to mentally torment ourselves over things that happened. Like, to think that that actually is necessary for a good life, or for, like, to think that like this level and this scale of repentance is needed somehow to atone for some kind of sin that you've committed, or some kind of quote unquote crime you've committed. Like, it is an illusion in a way, you know, because forgiveness is also exists. You know what I mean? And sometimes we're really just mentally exhausting ourselves, thinking that if we punish ourselves, that therefore we would be worthy of a life, or worthy of something. But really, it's this is not the kind of equation that the universe puts on us. You know, it's not the kind of equation that we're meant to live out. And again, I'm now seeing it with the Hangman and forgiveness. Like, there are some things that you guys are needing to one of the things you're making space for is forgiveness as well. Is to let yourself off the hook. Is to let yourself be transformed by divine grace, right? By forgiveness. Because otherwise you would be constantly living in this hanged man position, constantly punishing yourself, and until what end, right? How long are you going to punish yourself? I've seen people punish themselves over mistakes for like decades, right? And they still hold it above their heads, as though like doing that is going to make anything better. It doesn't. You know, it doesn't really make things better by mentally torturing yourself. Nah, that's not where we want to be. And so forgiveness is also something that you guys are making space for. Know that the mistakes you made in the past are contributing to your enlightenment, are contributing to your growth. And when you grow, others in your life can grow too, you know? So look at it that way. See that actually there's a lot of mutual benefits to every single one of us growing from our mistakes, forgiving each other for the mistakes we make, and allowing each other to grow, right? That's the compassion we can give to ourselves and to others. All right, enough about that. Let us actually look at some other guidance from Spirit about what you're calling in. You have new moon eclipse, expect powerful change. And we have new moon, a new start is coming. You have the new moon and the new moon eclipse. I mean, no wonder you guys got the Tower card, because I don't think there's a better way to explain how big of a change is coming into your life, but the Tower. Like, the Tower, it's really the only card that can show how much of a big new start is entering. But new moon and new moon eclipse, I don't know, guys. How else can I tell you that there's something amazing and big and transformative that's entering into your life? I mean, transformation in and of itself does carry change and destruction, and like things maybe fall apart when we transform, when we change. But there's also new beginnings. There's also new things that emerge from it. So there are two sides of this picture, two or more sides to this picture and this experience, right? You might experience the breakdown first before you experience the breakthrough. So that's what could be coming in. But new moon energy through and through. Okay, underneath the deck we have be bold and make the first move, cardinal moon. So if there's something you want to do, some kind of action you want to take it now. Okay, pile 3. Let's see what else Spirit wants you to know. All right. Whoa. And we have here Cave Sanctuary. Let's get you one more card. Whoa. That kind of shot out in a funny way. But we have Fire Passion. Underneath the deck we have Lake Stillness. Wow. I don't know why, but this is giving me origin story vibes. With the cave sanctuary and fire passion, they both feel like very primal, you know? Like this person, this caveman, like drawing these paintings in the cave. Like there's something really primal about cave and about the discovery of fire, and it connects to your very core essence. There's something about this journey that and this thing that you're making space for that is bringing you so close and actually bringing you directly in touch with that authentic inner core, right? There's this like you've been searching for this elusive inner self, this inner core, this passion, this dream. Like you've been searching for this elusive thing that would like light yourself up, and you do find it. You do find it. That's what you're making space for. It's returning back to that core essence inside of you. Okay, so something is kind of opening up there, and it's bringing about a lot of stillness. I look at this card like as though somebody's like looking in their mirror and looking at their reflection in the lake, and just observing life in a very still, calm, tranquil manner, and just noticing the kind of changes, the kind of things that are happening in this landscape, and being very, very observant and also very curious about what is unfolding inside of you. Okay, so it's almost like you're just looking inside your own inner lake and looking back at that reflection and giving space for self-awareness and self-healing and self-growth, right? And that's essentially so much of what we've been unfolding in your reading. But anyway, let's get you some final affirmation cards for this reading here, and let's see what Spirit wants to leave you with. Okay, we have 3 cards for you. Let's look at them together. The first card is, even when things aren't perfect or don't seem to be working out, I choose to trust in life. Beautiful. We then have, I am deserving of respect, love, and happiness. I give respect, love, and happiness too. And finally, we have, I listen to the intuitive wisdom of my own feelings. I am guided from within. And underneath the deck, we've got, I let go of the past, I trust in the future, and I accept the present moment. Beautiful. So pile number 3, this is what I see for your reading. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope this reading brought you the clarity that you were seeking, and I look forward to reading for you guys in future as well, okay? Bye now.